Psalm 137, verse 1 through 4. Reads like this. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, and there we wept when we remembered Zion. On the willows, on the poplar trees, there we hung up our harps, for there our captors asked us for songs, and our tormentors asked for mirth to make them happy for their entertainment, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. And verse 4 lifts this question. They responded, how could we sing the Lord's song? King James Version says, in a strange land. NRSV version says, in a foreign land. You may be seated. Verse 1, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and there we wept. I want to talk today from this thought very simply. When winning causes weeping. When winning causes weeping. Just to make sure the person beside you got the title of the message, smile at them, say, neighbor, I don't mean to bother you, but did you know some winning causes weeping? I never shall forget my sophomore or junior year in high school, Martin Luther King Junior High School. We made it to the playoffs, and we had an issue up in Decatur, Lithonia, the metro Atlanta area. We could not seem to defeat some football teams in South Georgia. My mother would joke and say, I believe that those parents down there at South Georgia are feeding their sons whole cows and bulls, because counties and schools like Lowndes County, some other counties that we had to face, we just couldn't seem to defeat them. And we would get real close to going to the championship for our high school tournaments, and we would seemingly at all times get put out of the playoffs because we couldn't defeat the teams in the South. But I remember one year we had a pretty good season, and we were almost there. We had to win one more game before we would play at the Georgia Dome. We couldn't wait to defeat that team, some team in the South. Their name slips my memory. But I remember on that game, it was a hard game because the ref kept throwing flags on everything we did. But it seemed some of the same things that we were doing when the other team would do it, they would not throw flags. And it was very hard to accept that loss. We lost the game, and there were parents who had to come out of the stands at the end of the game just to console their sons because their sons were so close to the championship. And because of that loss, they were so filled with disappointment and discouragement that they would fall down on the field, grown big boys crying on the field because they were experiencing a tremendous loss. Brothers and sisters, let me be clear. It was hard accepting the loss because the entire game, it didn't seem like the other team was playing fair. While there was winning on one side of the stadium, there was weeping on the other side of the stadium. And it wasn't that we were sore losers. It wasn't that we hadn't lost before. But what made that night almost unbearable for us as a team, as a school, as a community, was the simple fact that it seemed the other team won but didn't play fair. Their winning caused our weeping. And I thought the pain of that night would never be experienced again. I thought our high school may never make it this far in the playoffs again. I thought at least I will never be this attached to a competition ever again. So no loss could ever move me to tears or upset me this deeply ever again. Well, saints, I was completely and profoundly wrong. Because on Wednesday morning, the morning after the 2016 presidential election results were finalized, I woke up and felt like crying all day. While some were filled with adulation and vim and exhilaration and elation, on my side of the stadium this week, I saw, heard, and felt weeping. On the other side of the stadium, there was seemingly a celebration. On one side of the stadium seemed to be winning, caused the other side of the stadium to be weeping. Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States of America, but his winning caused some weeping. We can handle losing. We've lost before, but it's so hard to lose when the person who won didn't seem to be playing fair. It seemed his entire campaign was founded on the platform of fear and bigotry and megalomania and hatred, and there was no flag thrown on the play. When Trump disrespected his daughter on tapes with Howard Stern, he didn't seem to be playing fair. When Trump mocked a differently abled, not disabled, a differently abled reporter, he didn't seem to be playing fair. When Trump said John McCain wasn't a war hero because he had been captured, he didn't seem to be playing fair. When Trump refused to denounce the endorsement by the leaders of the Ku Klux Klan, he didn't seem to be playing fair. When he claimed he would build a wall between USA and Mexico, and yet I owned a Donald Trump shirt and it said it was made in Mexico, they bringing their crimes and their drugs and their rapists into our country. It just didn't seem he was playing fair. When he blamed all terrorism on Muslims without being sensible, intelligible, and blaming radical Muslim extremists, which is only a part of Islam rather than the whole of Islam, he didn't seem to be playing fair. It's funny, he wanted to call the Muslim terrorists, but he never called police terrorists. He never called the Ku Klux Klan terrorists. The greatest threat of terrorism in this country is not a Muslim, it's a Christian extremist. Let me help you here. The leader of the Ku Klux Klan is a Christian pastor. And when he failed to admit those realities, it seemed y'all can just sit there quiet today. I'm preaching all of this by me, by myself, me and the Holy Ghost. When he praised the stop and frisk laws that were in New York that were deemed unconstitutional by this country, it seemed he wasn't playing fair. When he was heard saying that he could grab women by their private parts and kiss whomever he wanted to, when he wanted to, why he wanted to, walking in the dressing rooms of debutante pageants, contestants' rooms, it didn't seem he was playing fair. When he disrespected almost every group of our society that were not white and male, it didn't seem he was playing fair. When he insulted women, insulted Muslims, insulted Christians, insulted Latino and Latinas and Mexicans, seemingly affirmed violence against anyone who did not agree with him, it didn't seem he was playing fair. Everything I was taught not to do as a first grader, second grader, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, Donald Trump did and won. I was told don't be rude. He was rude. I was told don't be a bully. He was a bully. I was told be kind. He wasn't kind. I was told you got to share. He didn't want to share. I can handle losing. I've lost before. But when you lose to someone you know didn't play fair, it makes their winning harder to accept. Today, so many people are filled with tears and fears. Today, so many of you are filled with shock and dismay. So many of you are filled with disappointment and anxiety. Some of you are numb and nonchalant. Some are concerned and cautious. Some just feel like weeping. And isn't it interesting that some people who are weeping now were playing the mannequin challenge on last Tuesday? Yeah, they didn't move to go to the polls, but the first one on Facebook talking about I can't believe this happened. Sit your ridiculous, unconstitutionally founded self down somewhere. If you didn't vote, close your mouth. Tuesday night, The only person on CNN that gave me hope was a black man named Van Jones. As it was becoming clear that Donald Trump had won, I'm cool with that. And they were talking about what a political miracle this was. Van Jones spoke up at the table and said, people have talked about this being a miracle. I'm hearing about a nightmare. You tell your kids, don't be a bully, don't be a bigot, do your homework, be prepared, and then you have this outcome. He keeps on going. He says, you have people putting children to bed tonight and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of how do I explain this to my children? I have Muslim friends, he said, who are texting me tonight saying, should I leave the country? I have families of immigrants that are terrified tonight. He continued with wet eyes and said, this was a rebellion against the elites, true. It was a complete reinvention of politics, but he said it was also something else. We haven't talked about race. He said this was a white lash against a changing country, against a black president in part, and that's the part where the pain comes from. Van Jones's honesty and analysis of the night was the only thing that eased my nervousness that I had. However, if you were shocked that Donald Trump won, you, ma'am, you, sir, have not studied American history and you've not studied black history. If you are just, OMG, I can't believe he won, you skipped all your history classes, because this was a country that was founded on stepping on people to ensure other people could go up. I was at a store and ran into a white young lady who admitted she voted for Donald Trump. And I stood there with her and I treated her like God would want me to treat her. That's kind, compassionate, and courteous. And I said, ma'am, let me ask you a question. She said, no, I don't want to talk about it. I don't talk religion and politics. I said, well, those are the very two subjects that the world needs to talk about right now. I said, I'm not interested in arguing with you. I just want to understand from a fundamental perspective how you were able to overlook everything he said about women and Muslims and people. How did you overlook the disrespect that he had? Because however you overlooked it to vote for him, I clearly have to now overlook it to say he's my president for the next 4 years. So can you help a brother out? She said, well, he's a businessman. She said, here's what you do for the next 4 years. Just think money. I responded to her and I said, ma'am, no disrespect, but just thinking money is why slavery happened in the first place. Just thinking money is why people are still not treated fairly right now. Just thinking money is why women still aren't being paid equally as their equal who are men. Just thinking money is what's wrong with this country right now. You want me to just think money? What about virtues? What about kindness? What about values? What about principles? What about God's standards? What about Jesus Christ's message to the world about being loving and caring and compassion? I just can't think money when people are dying in the streets. And you can sit there today and you can try to be deeply spiritual all you want. You can try to ignore this reality. You can avoid watching the news. You can stick your head in the sand, or you can look what just happened in the face. Pause and admit, I need some time to weep and readjust. Because there are some who liked and appreciated this win, but there are others who this win caused them to weep. That's what's going on in our text today. The Babylonians and the Edomites have taken the children of Israel from their own land. They've taken them from their own land. Some of y'all sleep. The Babylonians and the Edomites came and took them out of their own land. The Edomites and the Babylonians were trying to make their country great again. But the only way they thought they could make their country great again was by dehumanizing and terrorizing people. So they took somebody that was a human and turned them into an object. And it was there in Babylonian captivity that the Jews and the nation of Judah had to sit under Babylonian rule and oppression. And to make matters worse, after being snatched from the land of their nativity, after being dehumanized and demonized, after being treated like Howard Thurman's disinherited, after being treated like James Cones's oppressed, after being treated like Frank Fanon's wretched of the earth, they sat there and their oppressors were taunting at them. Y'all don't feel like singing? Sing us one of those songs of Zion. Babylonians' win made the people of Judah weep. And there's some reality that I need to bring forth today with the few minutes I have left. Do y'all want to hear it or no? When winning causes you to weep, number one, your strength is depleted. Your strength is depleted. Verse 1 says, watch it, by the rivers of Babylon. They are reflecting over their time in Babylonian captivity. Here's what the people of Judah said. Here's what the Jews said. They said, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down and what? Wept. When we remembered Zion, Zion is a synonym for Jerusalem. Jerusalem was the capital city of Judah. When they thought about where they'd come from, when they thought about where they were now, it made them sit down and weep. Brothers and sisters, at our pals meeting yesterday, I opened up, I ignored the schedule and the agenda. I said, we need to talk about this. There's something I need to tell you. I said, it is irresponsible for any pastor, leader, or faithful Christian to continuously tell people God is in control. And that's just how quiet they were yesterday. It was so quiet you could hear an animal urinate on cotton. Yeah, it was just that quiet. I said, it is irresponsible. Every time someone brings up their fears, every time somebody mentions what's wrong about this, why they're scared, why they're fearful, they don't understand what to tell their children. Here you are with your church yourself. Well, child, you know God is in control. That's not the first step to handling reality. Yes, God is in control, but first you need to sit down somewhere like the Jews, sit down and weep a little bit. Was I the only one on Wednesday that felt like there was a never-ending funeral going on? You woke up on Wednesday and stared at the TV. Some of y'all didn't even go to work or school on Wednesday. It became a national day of mourning. Because if you on the other side of the stadium, everything looks good to you. But if you are a minority, if you are somebody that has some odds stacked against you, this presidential election result took you back to the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It unearthed some evils that we thought we had put to bed. Some of you in this room are offended by my sermon right now. I don't think pastors should be preaching this. Well, let me tell you this. It's a human reality that is going on right now. And whether you ignore it or not, people since Wednesday have already been insulted, have already been mocked, have already been attacked because there's a certain group in this country who think it's just their country again. There was a Muslim woman walking in Walmart, and a man walked up to her and snatched her hijab off of her head and said, this ain't allowed anymore. It's time for you to go back to where you belong. True story. There was an Asian woman this week on Thursday pumping gas at a gas station. A white man jumps out the car and tells her, oh, it's time for you to leave now. This ain't never been your country. This ain't allowed here no more. Your kind is not allowed here anymore. A black man got out of his car when he heard it and tried to hug the Asian lady and shield her from the venom and poison that this white brother was spewing at her. And the white man said to both of them, well, both of y'all can leave then. On the way to school, a black boy is driving to school, and a white student who was in his class pulled up beside him and said, hey, nigga. When the black boy, see, it's a new day. See, Martin Luther King and nonviolence. Thank God for the nonviolent movement. Bruh man went to the classroom and said, I heard what you said. When you said it, you want to say it again? And I don't care how saved you are, sometimes you need to sit down and cry. When was the last time you looked at your world and just shed some tears? I ain't talking about over the fact that you can't get the new iPhone, or the fact that somebody stepped on your J's, or the fact that somebody didn't speak to you after church was over. When was the last time you sat down and just had to cry? Too many of us know how to shout, but you don't know how to cry. Men walk into funerals with sunshades on, trying to hide the fact that you're crying. Crying don't mean you weak. Crying means you're seeking some strength. Tears are words that the heart can't express with the tongue. Look at somebody and say, when the last time you cried? I'm so tired of churchy people. Well, you know, God did this for a reason. Don't put this on God. You didn't vote. Don't put this on God. Hillary Clinton didn't come across authentic. She could have said Black Lives Matter one time and every black person in this country would have got up and voted. Sit down with all that churchy stuff. That's why young folk don't even want to come to church now, because we so churchy and fake. Well, God, you know, God's got this. This was God's plan. No, this wasn't God's plan. But since it happened, I do believe God is able to bring something good out of it. But don't you blame God for something you didn't do and did. You're protesting now. Where were the protesters earlier? When we heard Donald Trump was running, everybody in this church thought it was a joke. What happens when a joke becomes reality? And I saw him sitting in the Oval Office talking to President Obama. He looked scared. And if you don't sit and weep, that statue of Martin Luther King sitting on that desk behind Donald Trump in the Oval Office, the way he looked at Donald Trump, y'all don't keep up with the news. Your strength can be depleted. That's why Isaiah said even the youth will faint and be weary. The young men will utterly fall. You like to go over to the park, but they that wait on the Lord, he'll renew your strength. No! Sit with verse 30. Even the youth shall faint, be weary. Young men shall utterly fall. We love weeping may endure for a night, but joy. You want to speed past the weeping to get to the joy. But nighttime may not just be a couple hours, it may be years. It's not weeping may endure for a night, but joy. No, it's weeping may endure for a night. He died on Friday, but early Sunday morning. What about the silence of Saturday? You skip from Friday to Sunday and shout. We got to learn how to sit in the tension of not knowing what to do next. Your strength is depleted when winning causes weeping. But number two, watch this. Your song is in danger. Because verse 2 says, we just hung up our harps on the willows, and here come our captors. Here come the people oppressing us. Hey, y'all want to entertain us? Y'all want to throw that football still? Y'all want to get on the stage and still perform, shuck and jive for us? Because we cool with y'all entertaining us. But we don't like when you protest our flag. We cool with you, Kaepernick, long as you get a touchdown, but don't take a knee. Y'all quiet. Come on and entertain us. Sing us one of those songs from Jerusalem. Sing us one of those songs from Judah. And they responded, how shall I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? How can I sing at a time like this? This was not an issue of musicality. This was an issue of theology. They thought God lived in the temple in Jerusalem. Here it is for those of you still awake, not playing on your phone, not scrolling through Instagram. Here it is. For those of you who think this is just about not singing, they were revealing their theology. They thought God lived in the temple, and when the Babylonians came and took them out of Jerusalem, they destroyed the temple. So if you destroy my temple, if God lives in the temple, you destroy the temple, now God is dead. This isn't about me not just feeling like singing. How do you want me to sing in a strange land where God is absent? But here's the reality. They had bad theology. They said, we ain't singing because God ain't here. Here it is. We ain't singing because we're not where we want to be. Y'all sleep. We're not going to sing because God ain't here. And we're not going to sing because we're not where we want to be. Y'all still sleep. We're not going to sing because God is not here. And we're not going to sing because we're not where we want to be. Y'all still ain't got it. We're not going to sing because God is not here. And we're not going to sing because we are not where we want to be. Well, the first one is a lie, and the second idea is problematic. Number one, God is here. And after their reality of watching the temple be burned down and destroyed, that's when they figured out they still had breath. They still had life. They still had joy. So the people figured out through their captivity that God is not relegated to just one place. He can be everywhere at the same time. And let me tell you something. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do for the next 4 years. This is what Pastor Sharp tells you to do. Get you a song. Just go and tap somebody around you, because half of y'all sleep acting like you can't hear. But just tap somebody around you and say, get you a song. Yeah, you better find you something to sing. My song was Kendrick Lamar this week. We gonna be all right. What? We gonna be all right. But see, that's my hood side that came out. But every now and then, you better get you a gospel song. You better get you a song that got some good news in it. Look at some. I said, tap somebody and say, you better find a song. I know the Lord will make a way. Yes, yes, he will. You better find a song. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory. You better find you a song. Great is thy faithfulness, oh God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. You better find you a song. Order my steps in your word, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me every day. Send your anointing. You better find you a song. There's a bright side somewhere when your way gets dark and dim. You don't have to worry, because God is near. If in your heart there is no song, just keep the faith and keep holding on. Turn your plate down, fast and pray. Jesus will always make a way. There's a bright. See, what we're doing right now, we're participating in resistance. Say, win your way. When your way gets dark and dim, don't have to worry, because God is near. If in your heart there is no song, just keep the faith and keep holding on. Turn your plate down, fast and pray. Jesus will always make a way. There's a bright side. I said, you better find you a song. How great is our God. You better find you a song. Nobody greater, nobody greater, nobody greater than you. I said, you better find you a song. Shake your neighbor's hand. Say, neighbor, I decided I'm going to keep on singing. I don't care who the president. I don't care who's in the Senate. I don't care who's in the White House. I know who's in the main house. And I'm going to keep on singing. Preacher, what's wrong with you coming in here all loud this morning? See, you let what's going on around you affect what's going on in you. But I will bless the Lord. Not sometimes, not while Obama is president, but I will bless the Lord at all times. If you sitting by somebody that ain't said nothing for the last hour, you may need to find you another seat. Get near a praiser who can say, I don't care what's going on. He's still been good to me. Touch three people, say, find a song, find a song. Find a song, find a song. And you better sing it at work, sing it at Walmart, sing it on 16, sing it on 75. You better find you a song. It may be a trap song, it may be an R&B song, it may be a gospel song, but you gotta sing your song, because what the devil wants you to do is lose your ability to use your mouth. Because the devil knows death and life lies in the power of your tongue. Sometimes your singing is the only thing that keeps the enemy up off you. Anybody made up your mind, I'm going to sing this week? And you may not be in key, but you better keep on singing. You may not need a solo. You just got to sing very low, but you keep on singing. When you walk in that hospital, just make you a song up. I know he's a healer. I know he's a way maker. I know he's a healer. I know he's a way maker. I know he's a healer. I know he's a way maker. It doesn't matter what you say. I ain't cussing today. I'm going to be a Christian. I ain't cussing today. I'm going to be a Christian. You better make you a song up. I ain't smoking today. I wish I had some real folks. No more cigarillos with something stronger in the middle. You better sing something. Our ancestors made it by singing. We shall overcome someday. Ain't nobody gonna turn me around. Soon I will be done with the troubles of the world. Over my head. Now in my face is trouble everywhere, but over my head I hear music in the air. Then they said it must be a God somewhere. I don't know where he is. I hadn't seen him lately, but I still believe that God's got power. Here it is. Your strength can be depleted. Your song can be in danger. But lastly and finally, for those who are ready for me to stop preaching, your senses can be distorted. I said your senses can be distorted. Verse 4 says, how shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Verse 5, here's what they said. If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand wither, let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth. If I do not remember you, if I do not set Jerusalem upon my highest joy. Right now, the Jewish culture, when there's a marriage, here's what they do. Before that marriage starts or before that marriage concludes, somebody shatters some glass. The reason why is because this says, I got to remember where I came from above my highest joy. The highest joy for some people is their wedding day. So even on their wedding day, they shatter some glass so that they can remember their history. They said, no, we ain't never going to forget who we came from and where we came from. Brothers and sisters, if you're discouraged, I'm telling you, you just don't know your history. Because this ain't the first time we've had something that was troubling to our spirit occur in this country. No, this ain't the first time. If you're troubled by this or shocked by this, you haven't been paying attention. And I thought about something. My grandmother was about to be 90 years old on January the 2nd. My grandma turns 90 years old. And I did a little research because I was interested in how many presidents she's sat under. My grandmother has sat under at least 16 presidents. Calvin Coolidge, Herbert Hoover, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, Harry S. Truman, Dwight D. Eisenhower, John F. Kennedy, Lyndon Baines Johnson, Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush Jr., Barack Hussein Obama, and if the Lord allows her to live to January, she'll sit under Donald Trump. 16 U.S. presidents. My grandmother was born in 1927 in the middle of the Great Depression. And here I am looking forward, trying to imagine. God said, this ain't the time to imagine. That will come a little bit later. Right now, what you need to do is take some time to remember. I'm going to preach by myself. It's all right. Calvin Coolidge was a president. Lyndon Baines Johnson was a president. Ronald Reagan was a president. George W. Bush Sr. was a president. Bill Clinton was a president. Obama was a president. And now Donald Trump is about to be a president. We've had bad days before Donald Trump. Donald Trump ain't the first racist president. Donald Trump is not the first sexist president. Donald Trump is not the first misogynistic president. And if God kept us, through other presidents, what makes you think God can't keep us with this president? I'm closing. I just need somebody to shout, you need to remember. Yeah, I did some research. I'm done. And I looked in the Oval Office, and y'all, there was something I did not see. And when I didn't see it, I started shouting. I looked at the Oval Office, the one Obama now sits in, President Barack Hussein Obama. One of the smartest presidents we've ever had, and I'm not saying it because he's black. I'm saying it because it's true. I looked at his office. I looked at his office. I saw furniture in his office. But there was something I did not see. I saw a desk in his office. But there was something I did not see. I saw flags in his office. But there was one thing I did not see. I saw carpet and rugs in his office. But there was one thing I did not see. I saw pictures of the Obama family. But there was one thing I didn't see. I saw a desk in his office. But there's one thing I did not see. I saw a painting of the Statue of Liberty and a sculpture of the Bronco Buster. I saw a bust of MLK and a bust of Abraham Lincoln. I saw a painting in his office. I saw books and pottery in his office. I saw artifacts from 1900s in his office. He has a program from 1963's March on Washington. But after everything I saw in Obama's office, There was one thing I did not see. I saw furniture. I saw desks. I saw flags. I saw carpet. I saw pictures. I saw sculptures. I saw books. And I saw pottery. I saw programs. And I saw wall fixtures. I saw a seal on the ceiling. But there's one thing I did not see. Do y'all want to know what I did not see? I did not see a throne. Y'all sleep. I said I did not see a throne, because thrones only belong in the office of a king. And Donald Trump ain't my king. Barack Obama wasn't my king. Richard Nixon wasn't my king. Herbert Hoover wasn't my king. Dwight Eisenhower wasn't my king. Harry S. Truman wasn't my king. There's only one person who is qualified to be called my king, and I wish y'all knew what his name was. His name is Adam's Redeemer, Abraham's ram in a bush, David's shepherd, Solomon's wisdom, Ezekiel's wheel in the middle of a wheel, Jeremiah's balm in Gilead, Matthew's king, Mark's suffering servant, Luke's emancipator, John's word made flesh, Peter's life changer, Paul's name changer, Revelation's Lamb of God. Y'all know him, don't you? He is a keeper, the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star, the fairest of 10,000 to my soul. Y'all know him, don't you? He's a leader in danger. He's light in darkness. He's a ladder in a dungeon. Y'all know him, don't you? Won't he rock you to sleep late at night? Won't he pay your bills? Won't he take care of your children? Do y'all know who the king is? One Friday night, they took my king up a hill called Calvary, and oh, he died until the centurion soldier said, surely this must be the Son of God. They took him off the cross, put him in the tomb, and he stayed there all Friday afternoon, stayed there all Friday evening, stayed there all Saturday morning, stayed there all Saturday afternoon, stayed there all Saturday evening. But if the old preacher was here, he'd say, but early Sunday morning, the king got up. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, neighbor, if you don't know who the king is, let me tell you, his name is Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Look them in the face, hold their hand, say, neighbor, my king is Jesus, cause can't nobody do me like Jesus. My king is Jesus, cause can't nobody hold you like Jesus. My king is Jesus. Won't he dry your tears? Won't he pay your bills? Won't he give you peace? Won't he give you joy? Won't he keep you covered? Won't he keep you safe? Won't he bless your family? Won't he touch your body? Won't he pay every bill? Won't he keep you protected? Won't he make a difference? Look at somebody and say, neighbor, excuse me, but you don't know like I know what the king has done for me. Tell your neighbor, you can be cute and you can be quiet, but when I think of the goodness of my King and he's done for me, I lose my mind, I lose my cool, cause you don't know the hell he brought me out. You don't know the tears he wiped away. You don't know the peace he gave me in the middle of a storm. Put your arm around your neighbor. Put your arm around your neighbor. Shake 'em and rock 'em. Rock 'em and shake 'em. Say, neighbor, Trump is the president, but Jesus is still the king. So be not dismayed, whatever betide, cause God will take care of you. God will take care of you. I said God will take care of you. I said God will take care of you. I said God will take care of you. I got a question. Won't he do it? I said, won't he do it? Say yes. Say yes. Anybody feel like praising the King? Anybody feel like praising the King? He brought you through. He brought you out. He carried you. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Y'all gotta excuse me. It's been a rough week, but I remember on Tuesday night I was holding Frazier and Brandy's little 6-month-old daughter. We were standing in front of my office and it was looking like Donald Trump was going to win even before we left the church. And little Anita outside my office, standing in my arms, was pointing at the wall and kept touching the wall. And finally I looked at what she was hitting. There's a sign right beside the door of my office that says, be still and know I am God. And little Anita kept hitting God, kept hitting God. I said, God, I hear you. You had me before and you got me right now. And it took a baby to remind me everything would be all right. Touch somebody that you haven't touched yet. If you got to walk across the aisle, go on and make yourself at home. I said, touch somebody that you haven't touched yet. Say, neighbor, I want to do it by myself, but it just feels better when I got a partner. Say, may I have this dance? You shout, because Jesus is the King. I shout because Jesus is the King. I shout because Jesus Jesus. Have you tried Jesus? Have you tried Jesus? Have you tried Jesus? Well, I done tried him, man. He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. He's all right. In the morning, all right. At night, all right. He'll rock you. 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 I believe I'm gonna make it. I believe I'm gonna make it. I wish y'all felt like I feel. Anybody believe you're gonna make it? Anybody believe you're gonna make it? Anybody believe you're gonna make it? If he did it before, God can do it again. Same God right now. Same God back then. Say yeah, say yeah, say yeah, say yeah.